Welcome to Academy Lanes in Bradford, Massachusetts, where we are at the Pro Series Candlepin Doubles Tournament. The final round is about to begin. This match will feature Keith Beaupre and Beaupre-Dipietro versus Dave Godwin and Chris Sacchetti. And Dave Godwin is about to get things underway on the right lane. Keith Beaupre on the left. Each of these teams got here via 3 rounds of match play after a 5-game qualifying round. And there's a spare to begin by Dave Godwin. Dave and Chris, as you probably recall, were victorious in the first tournament of the season, doubles tournament at Metro Bowl in Peabody. So they're back to seek another title. And Keith and TJ I think they're making their debut as a team, although I'm not sure about that. TJ went to the final round in the Pro Series singles elimination a couple weeks ago at Big 20 up in Maine. 5 drop on the spare by Dave Godwin. Punches out the Big 5. Meanwhile, Keith Beaupre is looking at 8 and 10 with a couple of pieces of wood. And look at that, it doesn't go. And then the pin setter just cycled, had a mind of its own, and it cycled. So that means that Keith Beaupre will be able to redo his second box. Obviously, that's what he has a chance to do since the machine, and that's a strike. That's that's a big break for Beaupre and Dipietro, as you'll see a replay of the strike. The pin setter cycled without having the button pushed, so when that happens, you re-bowl the box, and it can be a good or a bad break depending on the situation, and in this case it's a good break. Keith has a strike in the second box. Dave Godwin with a 9 drop in the third. He's got the 4 pin all by itself. Keith Beaupre with the 1, 3, and 6. Some wood. But Keith goes well to the left side of the head pin, gets it a little bit too light, and the 6 pin does not go despite that wood. So that'll be a 9 fill on the strike that he had in the second. And that'll be a 10 box. Dave Godwin filling the spare. He was known as Dangerous Dave in his days on the Candlepin for Kids show, but wow, strike right there. Dave is still pretty dangerous as an adult, even more so, I would have to say. One of the dominant bowlers on the tournament circuit. Strike on spare for Dave Godwin. Keith Beaupre looking at 1, 4, 7, 8, and a nice bid there. He gets to the left side of the head pin, but he actually catches a little bit too much of it. So the 4 and 7 remain. And now they're gone. It's a 10 box. So now Dave Godwin will be filling that strike. Another solid hit in the 1-2 pocket this time. But he has a split 6, 7, 10. Some wood in front of the 6-10 and also over by the 7. He'll probably go for the 6-10 since he's on a strike. He'll want to get the 19 count and just see if he can get something to go over to get the 7. That's probably the way to play it anyway. But it's not an easy spare opportunity here. Let's see what he'll do with it. And he gets the 6-10. He was probably trying to get something to come off the wall and go over to get the 7. Didn't quite work, but it is a 9 fill on the strike and a 10 box. Meanwhile, Keith Beaupre converted that spare. So let's take a look at the scoreboard after 5 boxes for the first bowler on each team. Dave Godwin, 72. Keith Beaupre, 57 with the spare fill. So it's a 15-pin lead minus the spare fill. Chris Sacchetti and TJ DiPietro will take the stage now. I may have mentioned that this tournament had a 5-game qualifier and then 3 rounds of match play. Dave Godwin and Chris Sacchetti got to the finals by defeating Brandon Marks and Jonathan Boudreau in the first round. And then their second round victims were Stu Bergman and Sam D'Agostino. And then finally in the semifinals, they defeated Sean McKinley and Sean Baker. And that's a match we'll have later on in the weekend, or maybe sometime next week, because I do have video of that match. Meanwhile, Keith Beaupre and TJ DiPietro defeated Mike Regal and Chris Harris in the first round. Then they had a bit of an upset win over Sean Morrison and Chris Sargent in the quarterfinals. And finally they defeated Mark Smith and Brian Purdy, who are a couple of best bowlers from Maine. They were a very strong team. So some pretty sturdy opponents on the pathway to the finals for both of these teams, as Chris Sacchetti and Dave Godwin look for their second straight doubles title here on the Pro Series. Chris with a 10 box, TJ with a 9, and his second box he has 17 through the second. Chris Sacchetti with a solid 1-3 pocket hit, dropping everything except the 10-pin piece of wood in front of it. Meanwhile, TJ DiPietro with a half Worcester on the right side punched out the 3 and 9. Chris Sacchetti with the spare in the third. TJ goes by the head pin, but gets pretty good results out of that. He's still got the 1 and 6 remaining, and that'll be an 8 box in the third. Chris Sacchetti bowls out of Lanes and Games in Cambridge, where he has also been working for some time. That's a big candlepin and 10-pin house that's been in business for many years. And there's a strike by TJ DiPietro. We'll give you another look at it in just a moment, as soon as Chris Sacchetti finishes this box. Chris will have 1 pin remaining, the 7-pin. And that'll be a 9. Here is another look at the strike. Pretty sort of a medium 1-2 pocket hit by TJ DiPietro, and the 5-pin finally goes down. So each bowler will have 1 more box to complete this first half of the string. Chris Sacchetti with a 5 drop on the right side. TJ with kind of a punch on the 3-pin. Drops, just takes out the 3, 5, and 6, and the 5 and 6 are both still on the deck. But he's a pretty good couple pieces of wood that could help him make the spare if he can hit the head pin. As it turns out, he goes by the head pin. He'll have a 6 on the strike. 9 box for Chris Sacchetti, and a 9 also for TJ DiPietro. So we'll take another look at the scoreboard. So it is now a 16-pin lead for Dave Godwin and Chris Sacchetti, minus the spare fill that Keith Beaupre is about to add as he completes the 5th box. And just 3 as he goes to the left side and takes out the 4, 7, 8 triangle. Dave Godwin with another strike. So Dave with that strike in the 6th against the open box. It'll be a 10 for Keith. Dave Godwin goes to the left, both bowlers missing the head pin. Keith Beaupre has the 1, 2, 4, 5. Very difficult spare, tough to get the 5 pin. And that's exactly what happens. Despite having a piece of wood to help, it's really tough to carry through and get the 5 pin or get it off the wall. Meanwhile, Dave Godwin puts an 8 fill on the strike. 10 box for Keith Beaupre, 9 for Dave Godwin in the 7th. Keith again over on the 3 pin. He's got a 4 drop. And Dave Godwin also to the right side of the head pin. So they'll both have a couple of pretty difficult configurations to try and convert. And there is a great shot by Dave Godwin for the spare. Kicks that head pin off the wall to take out the 6 and 10. Here's another look at it. As you see, he goes to the 1-2 side, and the head pin comes off the wall to upend the 6 and 10. So that's a spare for Dave Godwin to further extend the lead. And there is, it's funny, Keith Beaupre leaves the same combination that he just left a couple boxes ago, that 1, 2, 4, 5. That's not a very commonly seen combination of pins, but as I mentioned, it's a very difficult one to convert. Dave Godwin with an 8 fill on the spare, and not able to convert that 5-7, just takes out the 5 pin, so both bowlers will be open. Keith Beaupre with a 9 box, and Dave also with a 9. These guys are getting ready for the World Invitational Tournament, which will be coming up right here at Academy Lanes in the week after next. It starts, the festivities begin on Monday the 10th with the singles knockout tournament, and then for the rest of the week, the 24 team competition will be underway every day. Really a good chance to, if you happen to have some time off during the week, chance to see some great bowling, the best bowlers in the world. That tournament goes through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then finally the playoffs are on Saturday. So let's take a look at the scoreboard. Pretty hefty lead at this point with Dave Godwin adding those 2 marks. So it's now a 31 pin lead with 5 boxes to go. So Beaupre with a 31 pin hill to climb, which is tough, but it is doable. But he's going to really need to probably come up with at least four marks, if not 5. Especially with Chris Sacchetti bowling as well as he has been. And TJ will be open in the 6th box, going by the head pin with that 4 horseman on the right side. Chris Sacchetti looking at 4 and 10 with some nice wood, and he utilizes the wood to convert. Spare in the 6th box for Chris. So that's further cementing the lead of Godwin and Sacchetti. Beaupre with a 9 drop. Chris Sacchetti with a fill. It's going to be 8. No, it's going to be 7. 5 pin kind of slid over a little bit, but didn't fall. TJ converts the spare in the 7th. That's pretty much mandatory at this point, obviously. And Chris Sacchetti also with the spare. He hit that 2 right on the nose, but thanks to a couple of pieces of wood, he was able to convert that 2-4-5 triangle. Now TJ needs a big fill here. and he smashes the 1-2 pocket, dropping 9, leaving the 6 pin. Chris with an 8 fill. He's got the 2 and 5. And TJ just goes by the 6 pin on the left side. Meanwhile, Chris pounds that 2 pin straight back again, and didn't have as much wood this time, so nothing covered the 5. So both guys will be open. Pair of 10 boxes in the 8th. In the 9th box, TJ with 1-3 pocket hit, leaving that 2-4-5 triangle. And he'll make the spare. Pretty much an insurmountable lead at this point, but chance to pad the score a little bit with the spare in the 9th. And Chris Sacchetti pushing the head pin straight back. So Chris and Dave will, in fact, garner their second straight doubles win here on the Pro Series circuit. And they will cement their position in the Bowler of the Year standings. At the end of the Pro Series season is the playoffs event, in which the top 40 bowlers in the point standings compete in match play. And it'll be an open box for each guy. 8 for TJ and a 9 for Chris. And so Chris Sacchetti and Dave Godwin win this match by a score of 249 to 220 over Keith Beaupre and TJ Dipietro. We will take a look at the scoreboard. You can see Dave Godwin kind of putting the match out of reach with a couple of marks in the second half, and then Chris had those 2 spares in the 6th and 7th. So Dave and Chris pick up their second win. So the next event is the ever-popular Kids and Pros doubles event. That'll be on Sunday, December 7th at a location yet to be determined. Always a lot of fun, so don't miss it. We'll see you next time.